Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you can find a description of the day's astrology as I've spelled it out here. Here, I want to discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'm going to play another card that, given the context of the day's astrology, may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Four of Swords, and it's here because it relates directly to the last 10 days, or the third and final decan of the sun's transit in the land of Libra. Libra is an air sign, and swords in tarot are air element symbolism, and air element symbolism is about the intellect, the rationale, the things we think, the plans we make, the communications that we have. And, you know, with the caveat, especially in tarot, that it's sort of a double-edged sword, right? We can use our thoughts and our words and our plans to help or to do something constructive, and we can also use them to do something destructive, to harm, okay? So here we come to the Four of Swords, and this is very much a card about seeking respite, about going into seclusion where we can sort of make an honest assessment of ourselves, of what kind of power we have in our situation and what our limitations are, okay? It's a time for meditation, retreat, healing. You can get some rest, you know, and really, you know, give thought to the things that really inspire you so that you can sort of replenish your spirit, okay? So if you don't have a whole week to take a retreat, take a weekend. If you don't have a whole weekend, you know, take a day off. If you don't have a day, take an hour and just seclude yourself from, you know, the people around you, even those that care the most about you, and allow yourself some time to really germinate, okay, some ideas about how you want, who you want to be going forward, and sort of what you have the power to do and what your limitations are as well. It's important to have an intelligent grasp of what you can do and what you cannot do before entering back out into the world. And with that said, I'm going to shuffle these cards for a second because I forgot to do it while I was talking about the Four of Swords. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let you know, thank you for being here. I am now currently offering private tarot readings and astrology readings. You can find me at rosetarotsandenergyservices.com and reach me through there if you want to get a private reading of any kind. I'd be happy to talk to you. So with all of that said, and with these cards a little bit more shuffled, let's get through them just one more time. I want to truly mix them up. Ooh, we got the Tower. Forgive me, friends. Well, that's powerful stuff. For many, that is the least favorite card in the tarot deck. And it's a major arcana card, so it's sort of a major message card. You know, what the message is that things fall apart. That sometimes, no matter what you do to build something foundational that will stand strong for a long time, that will support yourself and the people you like to keep close, sometimes no matter what you do, things fall apart, okay? So understand, you know, like, see, somebody built this tower and they obviously thought it was going to stand forever, and the people who were inside the tower were very you know, happily just being supported there, and then lightning strikes. So out of the blue, something just happens, and then all of a sudden everything's on fire and that tower is useless to anybody now. And, you know, I'm often reminded by the people I see sort of falling out of the tower, or this person has fallen out of the tower and become impaled on a rock. How very dramatic, right? So, you know, I'm often reminded that, you know, it's important to have one's spidey senses on when we're talking about, you know, impending doom or calamity. And I'm not saying that we have impending doom or calamity. It's just a reminder that stuff happens, guys. Shit really happens. Like, things that we don't expect can come along and just really upend our whole lives, okay? And if you have any sort of intuitive sensibility that would tell you like, hey, something bad is about to happen. If you're the kind of person who knows how to leave the party before the cops show up, if you're the kind of person who can sort of sniff danger in the air, be the person also who raises the alarm and says, hey, something doesn't feel right. I'm getting the heck out of here. Create some distance, okay? You want to watch that tower fall from the distance, not be inside it when it happens. But, still in all, just remember, occasionally shit goes down, things fall apart, okay? And, this really brings me to Pluto, because it's about endings and beginnings, especially Pluto and Capricorn. It's about, structures that we thought would never fail us coming to an end, being transformed into something completely new and different that we had not imagined before. Pluto has been in Capricorn for some 25 years and will only be there for the next few months, 6 months tops at this time. So what we're looking at is, sort of 25 years of complete renovation, complete knocking down of old traditions, old values, old tried and true ways of doing things, old institutional models that no longer work for us, okay? And since they no longer worked, they came to an end, and now we're getting started on some new stuff. We've gotten started on some new stuff this entire 25 years. This whole thing has been a lesson in how much new stuff we can encounter, especially in terms of the stuff that we rely on to be solid and accountably reliable for us, right? So, this is the end, beautiful friend, of lots of our tried and true ways of being. And if we look at the fact that Pluto just came direct, we were just in retrograde with Pluto, and it was really talking about also our own ways of being that are not so helpful anymore. Tried and true ways of being that don't work for us any longer, have also gone by the wayside. We've had to sort of let them burn, let them become rubble. And we don't necessarily know what comes next after things fall apart, but things do fall apart. And if you've been noticing that in your life a lot, that things fall apart, you are not alone. Okay, I just want to say that very clearly. You are not alone in the fact that things fall apart. Everybody has been going through these transitions, transformations, dealing with the big losses and the big changes that have come up in culture, and also responding to them with big losses and big changes in our own hearts, so that we can adjust to the world around us as it is changing it's changing in like very deep, systemic, long-term ways. So that's Pluto. That's the tower, bringing about transformation, sometimes through apparent calamity, okay? It never feels good when everything goes to hell, right? But, understand that if you can survive things falling apart, and that you can survive things falling apart because you've lived through it before, probably many, many times, right? If you know that you can survive things falling apart, then, a new day will dawn tomorrow, and you will be able to pick up the pieces and begin again to create something beautiful and hopefully future-wise foundational for you. Taken together with the Four of Swords, if you have had a calamity like this lately, I'm very sorry to hear it. Okay, if things have really gone to hell, or if things have really fallen apart in your life in some way, A, you wouldn't be alone, and B, understand that endings are always followed by fresh beginnings, right? But in the interim, sometimes it is important, after things fall apart, just to take a rest, again, to sit back and reflect, to think about what it is that I can do now and what it is I cannot do, right? To make a little bit of a plan, to get an intelligent grasp of your capability to respond, right? What is your capability to respond? This is Kathy LaDonna from Soul and Vibration. Your responsibility, right? So, let's take a break. If things fall apart, when things fall apart, let's take a little break. Okay, let's go into seclusion. Let's heal. Let's rest. Let's meditate. Let's think about ourselves and what it is that we can do going forward. Okay, it's okay to take a little rest when everything goes to shit. You don't have to just keep running off to work or, running out and doing the same stuff that you always did before, when you thought you had something that would stand forever and now you see that it will not. Okay, it's a time to really be investigating different ways of doing things, different ways of building our foundations. Uranus is square to Saturn here, saying, we really want to think about the way that we approach doing things and not do the same old all the time. Okay, like if you have a tried and true way of doing something, but you keep getting blocked, or you keep getting sort of discouraged or distracted, or maybe you have a supply chain issue that's making it hard for you to do things the way you like to do them. Now is a time to be really allowing for some flexibility in the way we approach building solid foundations for ourselves, and in the way that we approach dealing with disasters when they come up, big and small. Okay, so be a little bit reflective, be willing to try things a couple of times, and really be willing to sit back and rest for an hour a day, a weekend, or a week, and give yourself the reflection and the time to think and to understand yourself that you need before going back out there into the world. I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.